All right, as I start every meeting, can you guys all see my screen?
Yes.
Right on. All right, so today our intro assignment was to draw this basic, uh, we just have two interior walls and write a handful of exteriors. I threw in a little curveball with a rounded wall in there, kind of fun. Um, but let's just talk about how we might do this. Now, I know that there's a lot of ways to do this. Okay. I'm not saying that this is the only method. In fact, I'm saying that this is a method that I use, but I still am going to go back and double check my work and make sure that what I inputted is actually what's reporting. Right. Does that make sense? So I'm going to draw this. And again, I'm going to go ahead and just start with a wall. Now, I'm gonna is it okay if I pull my other screenshot up and not have this one up there? So that if you want to reference the old one, that's fine, but it just gives me a little bit more room. So let me grab the screenshot. I got it down on the screen. Excellent. All right. So now, again, this is not the only way to do this, right? There are a ton of ways, there are a ton of different methods, and that is what's called workflow. Okay. And tailor making your workflow work for you may be different than something that works for somebody else. Now, there are workflows that may be better as far as fewer clicks than others, right? Um, there may be workflows that are more convoluted. However, either way, the end goal is the same, right? Is to make not only this outline of this basic structure, but also to provide the dimensions that go with it, right? So that way you could put it on a drawing and someone could theoretically build it, right? So let's go ahead and go through it. So I always start, and again, personal preference. This probably goes back to my years of construction management, which I don't know how your estimating department. How many of you guys have taken an estimating class through Edmonds or in general?
I have.
Okay, so half of you guys, maybe a little more. So when you're estimating, were you taught any place to start on the drawings? Or was it just kind of start looking at the drawings and start counting things?
Start at the top left corner and go clockwise.
Okay. So that's the exact same method that I use here. And that all
Mhm.
stems from my days of estimating, my days. Every time I look at a set of plans, that's my that's how I view it. Okay. And I can take any set of plans and look at it, and within 30 seconds, I should know pretty much 95% of what's going on. I look at plans for a living, not just electrical. I look at architecture, I look at mechanical, I look at all types of stuff, right? So I'm used to looking at plans specifically when I'm starting in the top left. I typically will read my general notes, read any notes on it, and then I'll start at the top left and start scouring the drawing going clockwise. So we're going to use the same type of method here um, to draw a to draw this structure. So first off, I want to select that wall. And right off the bat, I want to make sure that is this the right type of wall that I want? And the answer right there is no, right? I want to draw this exterior. Okay, I can draw a generic 12-inch masonry or generic. I think I'll draw masonry just so you can see the hatching on it. The 12 inch is fine. Either way, it's all the same, right? Okay, so, and again, I'm going to start at this top left corner. Now, the top left corner is the top corner that's 2'6" in from the wall, right? It's the very top left corner. It's not the left corner that's kind of like at the window or halfway up that wall. So we're gonna start here, and I'm gonna draw this whole thing, and I want you to realize what I am doing as far as clicking. Okay, so I'm going to click twice in this entire command. I'm going to draw all this walls with 2 clicks. 1 click to start my walls, 1 click to end my walls. Okay. Everything else that I'm doing is direction and distance. Okay. So what that means is I'm going to give it a direction. So here's my first click. Okay. I now have started my wall. I'm going to give it a starting point. So that was my first click, right? Click 1. Now everything else from here is a direction and a number of some type, right? A length. So I'm going to drag to the right, giving it a direction of, I want to go to the right, right? And we could use northeast, southwest. I don't care. I'm going to use up, down, right, left. Doesn't matter what our terminology is. The concept's the same. So I'm going to drag to the right. And what's this distance, right? What's this first distance that you see up here?
36.6.
36.6. So I can type in 36 foot 6 inches like that. Yep. And that's going to give me a 36 foot 6 wall. Okay. Now, if I change the direction that I want to go and type in 7 foot 6, now it'll give me a 7 foot 6 wall heading south or heading down in this case, right? Now, these dimensions may not be perfect, right? I gave you some oddball stuff, right? My dimensions are all outside to outside versus an inside to inside or a center to center. However, concept is the same, right? We're going to model, we're going to dimension, and we will adjust, okay? So let's go ahead and draw this now at 7.6 to the south. Now, the other way to draw 7 foot 6, instead of typing 7 foot 6 inches. I personally don't like that a lot. 1, I've got to hit the foot key. 2, I have to hold shift and then click the same key for the inch. It's a lot of extra buttons for me. Now, if that's what makes sense to you, absolutely use it. Revit is set up in a way that you can use a space as a divider between foot and inches. So if I just type in 7 space 6, that is the same as 7 foot 6 inches, right? So pretty nice little feature, okay? The other thing that you can type in, let's say I only wanted to make this 6 inches, okay? I could type in 0 space 6, right? And it would be 6 inches. Another fun one real quick. Let's say I wanted to draw to the north, but I drug to the south. How might I draw a foot to the north of that line from how I'm at right now?
You do negative?
There you go. Right on. So -1,
Nope.
and it'll draw up the other direction, right? So kind of cool. We can also do other things with calculated values and equations and that kind of stuff. Revit understands all that, right? So if I wanted this to equal 40 feet plus 6 and plus 5 and 6, 5 and 9/16 inches, right? That now is that distance. It added those together, right? I gave it an equal sign in front of the two lengths and it added them together. So kind of cool. Revit will allow you to do that. Okay. Not trying to get into the weeds with that, but again, how it works is all number based, all number value based. So again, I'm going to start over because we only have 1 wall in, right? And I'm going to do this with 2 clicks. So let's do it again. Okay. Click 1. To the right, 36 space 6. Down, 7 space 6. Right? And again, it's really important. One thing when you're dragging to the right or to the to above or below or wherever is that you make sure that you are patient enough to make sure you get that dashed line to show up, right? That dashed line means we're truly horizontal and it's an extension. So you're at 0 degrees, right? I'm not drawing something off angle by just a little bit, right? So one thing just to make sure you always, when you're dragging, make sure you feel that you should kind of feel it click into into place, right? It'll snap in there. So make sure you're seeing that. All right, 5 feet over. I'm gonna go down. Now I'm just gonna go down 23 feet. We'll worry about that corner later. Okay. I didn't give you enough information to do the corner right off the bat from this direction. So again, we're gonna go 12 over. I'm going to go down 4, 6 over 12, up 4 over 20, up 15 over 2.5, and click number 2. We'll join that together. Now I've ended the command. Okay. So now is this right? It looks right, right? I follow the dimensions. But is it truly the dimensions that I have shown on the document there, on the picture? Right? If I went ahead and I just straight up dimension this, and I'm going to, so let's go ahead and we'll go to annotate, align dimension. Now I'm going to go outside to outside. Oh, what's that? And I'm going to go to outside of this. Oh, well, that one looks okay. This side, I'm going to go outside to outside and outside of this. Well, that's kind of funky too, right? Okay, that one looks all right. But that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. And last but not least, so even though I typed in the exact dimensions that I gave you, that didn't necessarily make the structure that size, right? So that's why it's always a good idea, not only when you draw something, but when you draw something, you want to come and annotate it so you know truly how big that is. Dimensions will not lie to you, right? So what happened is, even though I drew this at 36.6, by the time I rounded the corner, it added measurement from this next wall, right? It adds, especially when I'm using center to center dimensions to draw and edge to edge dimensions to report, right? So how might we fix this, right? What do we need to do? Let's make this right.
Select the wall and type the right measurement.
Absolutely. Very good, right? Simple as that, right? Now that we have the dimensions that we need in the places and or locations, right, that we want them to be dimensioned to, we can simply just click on this wall. That dimension activates, and I can type in 36 space 6, and now that is outside to outside of those walls, right? Now, let's see if we can do this. I don't know if it lets me do it. However, let's use these, let's use this up here and do a little math. Okay, so we could do this one by one, right? I could do this and type in 36.6. Oh, 36.6. I could come here, then move this wall to 5 feet, right? And chase this all the way around, right? I could make this 12. Now that's 12. And this dimension right here, I want to make sure that this is right. So let's edit the witness line. So that is 4. That is 4. Something is off somewhere. And I think it's right here. Oh, that's right. Oh, it's right here, the 23 feet. Perfect. So that was 23 feet edge to edge. So again, you can click this. Now, if I go ahead and just type in 23 feet here, it's going to move that one wall, right? But all the other walls are good in relative to that one wall, right? So this dimension here is 4, 6. That's what we want. This dimension here is 4 feet. That's what we want. These are located right. So if we just do some basic math, again, sometimes Revit will allow you to do this where you can click multiple objects. And if you've got it dimensioned, it'll allow you to do what's called activate the dimensions and click into it and it'll turn blue. Right now, it's not letting us do that. And sometimes just depending on what you're drawing, it has different constraints on what the dimensions can do. But that doesn't mean that we can't outsmart Revit, right? So how might I make this, and I'm going to grab this wall too. How might I make this right with one move? What do we need to do? I don't have any dimensions that are activating, right? So I can't just click into something and type in a distance and have a wall move.
Just drag and move.
Drag and move. I could, but again, drag and move is a lot of guess and check, in my opinion. Like it's you can get things close, but getting things right on is hard, especially when your dimensions report in 1/16 of an inch increments and Revit models to the 256th of an inch, right? So there's a lot of slop factor when you drag something.
So you can use the command move.
We can use the command move. There we go, right? So move with a base point. Instead of just moving it and trying to drag it, let's move with a base point. I know that I want these walls, and I could have grabbed these ones here, but since I grabbed this wall and this wall, these walls are automatically going to be connected. I don't need to select that one. Okay, so I know that I want this to be 23 feet. I see this right here as 11 and 5/8. So I could go ahead and click my base point, move north, and type in 11 and 5/8 inches. Okay, it's saying an element will be deleted. Let's see what happens. So in this instance, it didn't like that, right? It probably wants me to grab all of this. So let's try that again, selecting all of these walls and see if we get that same little error. Utilizing the move command, click, drag north, and 11 and 5/8 inches. So for some reason, it still doesn't like these corners, but what can we do? We can drag that back, or we can use our favorite trim command and just trim that corner back what it needs to be. It looks like we lost a few dimension references, so we can go ahead and add those back by clicking the dimension and coming up to the edit witness line and adding those last dimensions. And I guess last but not least, we'll get this 4-foot one. And do we have any questions on that so far? I know that that's maybe new to some of you as far as that drawing technique, right? Without necessarily dragging all your endpoints or.
How do you get that hatch pattern on there? I missed that.
Oh, I think I chose a different. I chose the masonry wall just so you guys.
Masonry wall.
I just chose that just so you could see it a little better. It doesn't matter either.
But if we chose the other basic exterior 12-inch wall, we're good. Okay. Cool.
Perfect. I just wanted to give you a little contrast on the screen. All right. So before we get too much further, I'd like to hear how people did drawing this curved wall. What were your methodology?
I personally used the fillet arc to do it.
The fillet?
Fillet arc, yeah.
Okay. So you went and did you do that with a wall to start
Yeah,
with?
I selected those two walls that are already existing.
Okay. Why don't you share your screen and let's see it?
Yeah, okay, hold on 1 second.
I'll stop my share. Okay, because there's a lot, again, Revit and AutoCAD, right? Both CAD programs, any CAD program really for that matter, has multiple ways to do this, right? So that looks great. However, I'm wondering, so it looks good. However, that 23-foot dimension, you see where it's going? So everything is center line dimensions right now. Just FYI.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and delete that corner and just trim those together and let's see what you did.
Okay. So I'll delete this
Just trim those.
and delete those two.
Is that how you started? I was
Oh, sorry. No, I was like, so what I did is I selected, hold on, it's getting annoying. I went over here and I selected this option here, which is the fillet arc.
Yep.
And then I chose this wall and this wall. Oops. But I had to do it. Hold
You
on.
got to do it with the right. Well, hold up, stop.
Yes.
Choose the right wall type in your properties.
That helped. Thank you.
That'll help.
Big help. Generic 12-inch. Okay.
Perfect.
So then you went boom. You gotta select this wall, and then I selected this wall. And then let's see.
Now, if you go ahead and just type right now, see how that's activated?
Yes.
Just type in 6.
So it is not letting me write anything.
Okay. That's why I asked. So perfect. Okay. So it wasn't letting you type in anything there.
No.
Okay? So
But
what
what I
did you
did,
do?
but
You
what I
snapped
did,
it?
I was, if I remember correctly, is I think I did, and I could be totally wrong. Sorry, it's the Zoom's getting in the way of my overlay.
Oh, you're good.
Here we go. Model way I place wall, fillet art. So I did boom and boom. And then I did this, but then what I did, so I did that, then I just selected it again. And I was like, oh, I want the radius to be 6 feet.
Perfect.
There we go. Okay.
Nice. Right
Cool.
on. That's
Hey.
a good method. Okay. And that's using the fillet arc, which allows you to pick 2 walls, not necessarily an end point, but it'll allow you to kind of pick that and then it will slide up or down just connected to those 2 walls. So nice. Anyone else do it differently and would like to share? Or did anyone else get that far?
Yeah, I use center ends arc.
A center end arc?
Yes.
Okay. Still using walls, or did you draw a curved wall to begin with?
No,
But
no, I use the walls.
You already used it. Okay. So you can draw. So I'm going to share my screen. I deleted a couple walls. Again, I'm just going to show you more methods to do the same thing. Maybe one will click with you better than others, right? Again, there's no right or wrong. There's just different and or maybe slicker or better or just, but there's not necessarily wrong ways, right? You can always, it's just how many moves does it take you to get there? All right, so I'm actually going to start by just straight up drawing a wall that's arced. I don't care where my endpoints are. I'll locate that later, okay? Again, this is just another way to do it, right? Normally, I probably would do something similar to what Kat did, and or maybe draw a 3-point arc once those are there. Just all depends on what I have to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and go to wall architecture. I'm on my 12-inch, right? I chose the masonry just so you could see the hatching a little better. And before I do anything, if I move my zoom, because it seems like that's a common theme right now, due to the location of the ribbon that we're working on. So if I grab this 3-point arc, right? I could start at an endpoint. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter where I start. Okay. I'm going to drag this and move it around anyway. So, but I'm just going to go ahead and start here. And you'll notice that if I start by just drawing this at, maybe 45 and come out here, I don't care how big this thing is right now. I just wanted to get a basic shape, right? A basic 90-degree arc. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time. Wall, architecture, and 3-point arc, right? I'm just going to place the first 2 points, make sure that the first 2 points are 45 degrees from each other, right? If you do that and bring this out, you're going to get that nice 90-degree setting, right? It'll try to snap in right there. Okay. Once I've done that, again, just like Cat had, right? I can click, except this one, I can click into it. I don't know if I can do it from the beginning. Let's try this real quick. I think it's the exact same way that that Cat had to do it, where you have to. Oh, true. 3-point arc. 5. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to click into that radius until you've dropped and set the arc. Once you've set the arc, then you can select the arc again and you will get a radius dimension that comes up and you can set that to 6 feet, right? I rotated this the wrong way. Is that a big deal? No. I can always mirror this, flip it around, right? So I can mirror this over the end of myself, and I can mirror it over the end of this self, and look at that. I'm right in the right orientation without even trying to rotate it. I could have also rotated that 180 degrees, right? So you can either do the rotate command, the mirror command, right? If you make something that's the right size, don't delete it, right? If you know that it's right, but it's in the wrong orientation, figure out how to flip it. Use a modifier, right? Don't start over and redraw every time, right? All right. So now I've got that. I've got this wall down here. I'm going to just draw a wall off this, and let's see, what is my dimension out to here. This is 12 feet, right? So I think that was 12 feet out, and that's where that, right? And that aligns like that. I'm just drawing this back to show you what you can do. There's lots of different ways to do this, but now I can go ahead and take this wall, and if I drag it and I drop it into anywhere along this line, as long as I see this center line come up, it will then try to connect this wall to it when I drag this back. Okay, same thing here. I could drag this back over, or I could use my align tool. Try to align. It probably won't let me align the node, so I can use a move tool instead. Move from center point, center of line. Do the same thing, just hit OK. So move, unjoin the elements, and now I'm going to trim that back, right? So again, there are lots of different methods to do this. All of them work. You can draw. And then last but not least, if you had something here, if I gave you these dimensions of where this arc started, you could just use a 3-point arc from here. 1 point, 2 point. Oh, sorry, I didn't click the wall. 3-point, 3-point arc, 1 point, 2 point. And there's my third spot, right? So there's lots of ways to do that, okay? And there's even more that I didn't even go through, right? And I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse, right? You guys are kind of seeing what's going on, how to join items. When in doubt, move it, right? If you can't align it, grab a point that you know where center is and move it to a center of a wall. Trim them together. Don't be afraid to unjoin elements so you can join them again, right? If it wants to auto join something and you want to move it, unjoin the elements, let it do what you want it to do and take control, right? It's just giving you warning saying, hey, this is going to happen if you do that. Do you want to do that? I'm like, yeah, I do want to do that. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and shift gears real quick and take a look at maybe some inspiration. I don't know. We'll see. See what you guys think of it. So I think I told you guys last week that I also was going to partake in this final project. I don't know. I think I'm 8 hours in, maybe 6. I don't know. There was 2 hours that was kind of dead time because I couldn't get things to happen the way I needed it to, and it finally got it. But there was no video online. There was no tool. It just, the trimming tools did not work the way that I wanted it to. And I just could not figure it out. Finally, I figured out how to cut it apart and it was good. But it took a lot of trial and error, and all the research that I did not assess this type of roof connection, right? And here's your 23 typical connections, and this simplest one was not on there. Like, and no one shows how to do it. So maybe I'll make a video on how to do that, right? I don't know. So two things. Before we get going, does anyone have Navisworks Freedom on their computer? Okay, we got one. So Navisworks Freedom is a program that I'm going to manage. It's the same program, okay? Ultimately, it's going to allow you, if you would like to, okay? This is not a requirement by any means, but if you would like to, you can use Navisworks as a viewer and actually kind of walk through your space. So I'm going to show you what I've got in Revit real quick. Again, it doesn't need to be nearly what this is, but this is just showing you some of the capabilities and possibilities of things you guys can do. And everything that you're seeing is within a 1/4 inch of actual dimensions and space and everything else. So this is my parents' house. This is where I grew up. Pretty cool place. And I decided, yeah, that would be a fun project to kind of model. Obviously, there are things like this, right? I've got some countertop that's going outside through the wall, right? I haven't adjusted it yet. Something's moved, whatever. There's been a lot of moving parts in the last little bit. But to give you an example, an idea of what you can do, you can not only put roofs on with all types of different, connections. You can do the same thing with ceilings, with floors. And let me just break this down. So let's go to a 3D view. I'll start downstairs. So that's the floor plan. So here's a basic floor plan of it. Again, I put some rooms in here so you can kind of see what's going on. Exercise room, Costco storage area. This is lower stairs. And again, if anything in here strikes your interest, feel free to let me know, and we can kind of make sure that we look at, all these aspects. I'm going to look at a 3D view real quick. And this has the floor on from above, but let's go ahead and pull that floor. Actually, that's the ceiling is what you're seeing. Let's pull the ceiling out of it real quick. You can kind of begin to see the first, bits of this place. So in 3D, you've got, and I still have work to do, obviously. I need a countertop in the bathroom, but I mean, we're, looks like this whole wall moved. So something happened there. Not a big deal, but I'll have to go back and assess it, figure out what's going on, why it moved. But yeah, mirrors, toilets, bathrooms, showers, racks. Here's a fridge in the, other area. Let's just move this back. I don't know. Unjoin elements. Let's see what's going on. That's what that should be, is right behind here. So. Again, and you can work in 3D, right? There's ways to work in 3D and ways to view it in 3D. That looks a little better. That mirror is back in place. All right, so let's go up a floor. So here's the main floor. I'm actually going to do this real quick. Let's make it so we can view this a little bit better. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to export this to what's called an NWC. And this is a Navisworks file. And Navisworks is going to allow us to actually walk through this. So instead of just like viewing it, it's kind of hard to view certain elements when you're in Revit. Because especially when roofs and ceilings and that kind of stuff get in the way, right? I can't just like zoom in without taking section cuts. If I just try to zoom in to like into this room, I'm never gonna get in this room. I'm just like stuck where anything, exists. However, Navisworks fixes that and allows us to see and walk through our projects. So let's go ahead. I'm going to open Navis and it'll take just a second. Here we go. And again, this is the program that everyone in the industry uses to run clash detection and work with other trades and collaborate with other teams. But we're just using it to take a look at this today. So I'll open this up. And here's this house. So now we can actually physically, oh, it's a little slow right now. Let me turn on. Off. Let's turn this back to shaded here. We'll be able to walk around a lot better in this. All right. So again, we were just downstairs. So here's that downstairs area, right? I can walk into, this is actually a room that's good, what's called our climbing room. My dad's a climber and he's got, this will all be full with overhanging walls and cool stuff. Anyhow, all of these families I downloaded for free. I didn't pay for anything, right? Don't pay for anything, right? If you're finding something that's like, hey, I've got this, but you got to pay for it, back out. There's always something better that's free. Okay. So I didn't spend time developing these families. These are all just families I downloaded either from BIM object through the actual Revit library interface, right? Through this window right here, the insert and load Autodesk family. Okay. So some of the stuff came from there. BIM object, and then a place called Revit City is another place that you can download. So again, here's the bathroom, walk into here. Now, the other cool thing about Navisworks is it allows me to not only view things, but I can take any type of wall. So let's expand all of these. And just to make it a little easier for us to view this, is I'll take all of these walls and all the doors. And all the windows. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make them %80 transparent. So now we can actually see this house and see through all the walls, and it makes it a lot easier for you to navigate, right? You're not just feel like you're stuck in a corner in a room. So living room, right? Double height ceiling, couches, fireplace, guest bathroom, master bathroom, bedroom. I mean, and these lamps, like that's exactly like the lamps that are right there. Like that's what they look like. So I found some and there you go. We got these IKEA chairs upstairs, right? Boom. There they are, right? They're all available. Okay. TV. Here's again, this is pretty tricky, right? There's some off angles, some stuff that, ceilings I had to figure out how to cut out. Roof lines that are tricky. Okay. But like this, I'm overlooking the living room, right? And there's actually a floor, missing here, right? This is open to structure or open to the ceiling. So let's go. Here's my area, my music studio area. Some more bedrooms. Anyhow, I mean, and it doesn't stop there, right? Here's a tree house. I got to put a tree in there, right? But here's a workshop, right? So my dad's a woodworker, right? He likes to turn bowls and lathes, and I mean, so here's his little workshop, right? So does yours need to be this detailed? Absolutely not, right? Am I done? By no means. I'll continue to put sheets together and stuff, and I'll put this together as a full packet, right? But hopefully that you guys can see that, that's a, and this didn't, again, I understand the program pretty well, but this didn't take a whole lot of effort. Um, it's all just walls, drag a window in. Now, one thing that did take a little effort on my end was I bought a laser tape measure. I bought one from Amazon for like $8. It's just a point-to-point one, so I could like set it inside the windowsill, click up, and it would give me a measurement. So I put in a bunch of placeholder windows to begin with, and then I actually came in and in Revit, like you can see that this, oh, when I cancel. But you can see there's a ceiling inside of that roof, right? There's not just a roof, there's a ceiling in it too. But like when I click on that window, maybe that one's like a standard size, but this one, maybe that's a little different, right? These are all windows that I made and adjusted, and I took this, edited the type, went to this window, duplicated it, changed the width and the height, and made it right? They're parametric, so they all kind of stretch and flex and do what you want. If you've got the right dimensions, you can make it happen. So, I mean, there's a generator outside, right? Little Jenny. We've got a grill on the deck, guardrails, gutters on the gutters, fascia boards. I mean, I colored the trim the right color, right? Like you can go to the nth degree. And this ultimately, at some point, I might put in every single plug and wire it and have a whole complete wiring diagram for the house. I don't know. Like, it's just a stepping point. I don't know where it's going to be in a year, but the cool thing is everything that I'm doing is to scale, is accurate, right? So when I go here and I create a room and I look at, this main floor actually created rooms and their spaces. It calculated the square footage of that living room for me, right? It calculated that master bedroom based on the fact that it knows where border lines are for the rooms. I can put in separators. I can change names of everything. And then you can just take this information and go with it. I can put all types of schedules together, bill of materials for the whole project. I mean, the list goes on and on. Questions, comments, concerns? It might be a lot. You might think this is dumb. Why would we do this? I don't know.
Pretty amazing, honestly. I'm kind of stuck on the roof line. I've tried playing around with them a little bit. Nothing
Okay.
nearly as complex. So
So
getting shapes right, I feel like is the hard part.
it
But you've
is.
got way more angles than anything I've tried.
Yeah, so the one thing that you may want to be playing with, if you do want to build roofs, here, let's just do something that's, I'm going to build something really simple over here and just show you, for some of you that want to look at roofs, let's just do this, wall architectural, build something over here. I'll delete it when I'm done. All right, so maybe this wall is like, I don't know. Let's make this. I did make this like. Actually, let's do this. Go back. I don't want to redraw something that I already can work with. So let's go to this main floor. Let's actually go to the upper level of it. And we're going to put a new roof on the treehouse. So let's go to upstairs. Will probably work just fine. All right. So here's the roof on this treehouse. That's the fascia on it. Let's delete the fascia. Here's the actual roof. So we kind of looked at roofs the other day by making them by what's called roof by footprint. Okay. And that kind of automatically creates a roof for you based on, some geometry that you have. Pick these walls and it's going to try to build a roof for you. Maybe it builds it right the first time. Maybe you have to adjust one of the hips or the valleys, right? But if you look at the roof like that I have here, that wouldn't work at all, right? It the problem with this roof is it's more than just one, Rambler style, or even, something without all the peaks and gables. And so one thing I had to do with this is to look at different options of drawing roofs. How else can I draw this roof? Okay. And we're going to do a really simple one, but it's going to be a sloped roof, right? So right here, if I went ahead and I did this roof by footprint, I'll put this on the upstairs, and I'll put this on the roof floor, whatever. And I could come here and select these 4 walls, right? Kind of select those 4 and say, okay, I want a roof, and it puts a roof on there, and whatever, right? I could adjust it and get it right. But is that the roof style I want? Not at all, right? Like, that's just what it's trying to pick up based on what the footprint is. It's not taking into consideration that I have this slope, right? So sometimes you may need to look at different options than just drawing by footprint. Okay. And so that's what we're going to look at right now, real quick, and then we'll take a break and then get back to some more tips and tricks, and maybe go through any questions that people have. So if I go back to this upstairs floor plan, actually I can do it from this main view. Yeah, let's do it here. So upstairs, okay. So one thing I want to do is I want to create a roof, and I want to create a roof by extrusion. Okay, what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to draw a shape like a triangle and extrude it outward, right? So the problem with this is it's tricky to use, okay? There's a few things that you have to have set up in place prior to trying to draw this, and that's what we're going to go through now. So if you have tried to do this and have failed, it's not your fault. It is the fault of the software that they don't instruct you to draw the things right. You're like, hey, pick a plane. You can draw a plane. Ultimately, you need to have done stuff way before you ever get to that window, right? And it doesn't tell you that. But that's why I'm here. Okay. So let's take a look at drawing via an extrusion. So the first thing I want to do is I want to draw what's called a reference plane, okay? And we'll get into all types of reference plane. You will be sick and tired of hearing about reference plane after 2 weeks class from now, right? You'll hate me. You'll never want to hear it again. But it's the fundamentals of how Revit can align things, how it can stretch things, how it can set up an extrusion off a particular object, okay? So we're going to create what's called a reference plane. Again, this is created in the architecture tab, very right-hand side. There's this reference plane, or RP is the keyboard shortcut. And I'm just going to make a plane that's parallel with the direction I want the roof to go, right? So I'm going to extrude the perpendicular direction from this, if that makes sense. You'll just look through it and we'll take a look together. All right, so I'm going to make a reference plane right like this at that 40-degree angle. Now, reference plane, I don't care right now what elevation it's at. None of that matters to me, okay? But what does matter is I now have a plane that I can extrude upon. And I'm going to go ahead and name this. So let's go ahead, if I tab through this, let's go ahead and name this. And I'm going to type in tree house. So when we create this reference plane, it now lives in our project with a name, right? If, again, same thing we were working on. If some of you guys were in early and saw Steven's screen when he was drawing some of his elevations, right? If it just says elevation 1A or elevation 2A, it doesn't mean anything to us. If we have a reference plane 1, reference plane 2, You know how many reference planes I already have in this project, right? And my naming convention was sloppy. I'll give it that, but it was good enough for me to know what was going on, right? So I named this reference plane, and you can see that right there, treehouse roof. Okay. So now when I go to roof by extrusion, I can come here, and first thing it asks me to do is to pick a plane. So I can actually pick, and you can see I have built quite a few to make those roofs, but I can come here and pick this treehouse roof. Okay. And when I pick that plane, now the one thing that I want to do, and I'm going to hit cancel real quick, is, and I already had this set up, but you want to have a section that's set up that is parallel with that plane. So some way that you can view this from the side once we go to create the extrusion. So right now I already have this one set up as in alignment, and it's going to actually auto prompt me to use this section. So I'll go to roof by extrusion, pick my treehouse roof, and click OK. Now, once I click OK, it's going to come up with another window and say, hey, what view would you like to view this in? And it's saying, hey, we've got all these views down here, but I think the best one for you to use is going to be this one up here. It's going to auto select one based on what's parallel to that reference plane, if there is one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click open view. That's fine. And now I can draw that roof along that reference plane, and it will create a sloped roof in the direction of that plane, right? Did it need to be sloped? No, I drew it sloped in here because I want it to be sloped, right? But what it's doing is it's actually drawing an extrusion based on that plane. So again, I'm going to do it one more time. This time I'll just make it flat. So pick plane. Again, flat wasn't even an option really when you were trying to utilize the roof by footprint, right? It still wants to give you that angle, right? That slope up in all directions. So even a flat roof, having a plane is a good idea, right? So I'm going to pick the plane, pick the treehouse roof plane. It's going to say, hey, now this time I'm already in the view that's viewing it, so it doesn't come up with that window saying, hey, would you like to be in this section view? Yeah, I want to move that to roof. And now what it's saying is, hey, let's build this roof. You've got a plane that's parallel to that object. So I could make a flat roof, right? It doesn't matter what I draw here. What does matter is that when I'm done, it's going to take the shape that I drew and extend away from us, right? So make that shape and extrude it away or towards us, just depending on how you're facing. But now that made that type of roof, right? Just because that's the line type I drew. Now, when I look at this in 3D, is that what I want? Well, maybe I did want that roof, but it went the wrong direction. Okay, I can align it to here. Align this to here and see, hey, this roof is a total of 6'1" and an eighth. Let's give it a 6-inch overhang on each side. So make it 7'1" and an eighth. It'll stretch that from the center. And there we go, right? Maybe that's the wall shape I had. Now, if I do like that shape, I could actually take this wall. I could take all these at once and say attach top and base and say, hey, I want to connect to this roof. And it's because I've got to reset my profile. But ultimately, I don't want to change that. But ultimately, you can make whatever roof shape you want. So we're going to go back. I'm going to step back one more time, do this once more, utilizing that reference plane. So again, I'm going to go to here. I built that plane that is right here. I've got a section view that is parallel with that plane. and I'm going to create a roof by extrusion. This time I'm actually going to create the roof that I want to create, the slope and the angle, and you'll see exactly what happens. So I'll go to pick a plane. I'm going to pick the treehouse roof. Click OK. Again, it's going to prompt me. Hey, it's got this section that's parallel. Would you like to use it? Yes, please. What level do you want to put the roof on? I'll call it roof. And since I want to match the slope of this, I'm just going to go ahead and click one side of that and the top side. Now, if I want to go ahead and add 6 inches of overhang right now off the bat, I could change this line right here to 8'4", and it's going to automatically extend that along that angle 6 inches each direction. Okay. Looks pretty good. What type of roof do I want? An 8-inch roof. Okay, now I know just from experience that I probably am going to need to move this, but we'll take a look at what this does before we move it. So that's what I want. Okay. Sweet. Now the problem is that's the top of the roof, right? I couldn't make, but I still needed to choose that line, right? I couldn't choose a line 9 inches above here that doesn't exist. So you got to choose the lines that are there. And now I can use my move command and literally move from this intersection to the top of that wall. And I will go back now to this upstairs 3D view. Oh. What happened to the roof? Can I see it here? Yeah, there it is. I don't know why I didn't see it in that view. And now adjust the extrusion, right? The extrusion pretty much, I don't know. I think it just defaults to like 100 feet long for some crazy reason. Once you create your extrusion, then you just need to come back and align it to the sides of your building. And then just like before, where we took that line and just typed in an extra foot, I'll do the same thing here. And now I've got a 6-inch overhang on all sides of that roof. Last but not least, I just want to make sure that all of this works. So I'm just going to attach the top and base, unjoin elements. Now, for some reason, I think when I drew this, I actually drew it as a profile. And I've learned some stuff since then. So let's reset profile. And I'm going to reset all of these profiles. And now I think if I just use the attach top and base, there we go. And now it attaches them. So instead of me even having to draw a wall that's kind of got an angle on it, it says, hey, there's a roof here. Would you like to just go ahead and attach to it? There you go. It cut it out for me. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. And we'll meet back at 7:50. So, and while we are on our 8-minute break, I want everyone to think of one thing that they have struggled with and or even today, right? I'm sure that there's something that everyone today is like, hey, I struggled with this, but I have, but we either found a solution or I'm still struggling. Let's address any concerns that we have and try to move forward together so we can get some of the people that are a little behind up to speed, and as well as help explain the program, because all of you guys are still new with this program, right? You're still, even if you're more advanced, you still have only been in this 6 weeks, right? So there's a lot to learn, even at my level, right? So try to think of something that you struggled with or something that you ran into. Yep.
Graham, can I ask you a question? Quick
Yes.
question.
Yes, you can.
Maybe I missed something because I wasn't at the first class.
Okay.
So what do you mean when you talk about final project? What do you expect from us? And what?
Nothing yet. Don't worry about it.
Oh, so mhm.
Yeah, you're gonna draw a little house. Okay. It's nothing, little one story basic. I mean, the stuff that we've done in class is, a great example of smaller projects, right? But we're gonna create a house that you provide some elevation views, a plan view, a 3D view, and you kind of put together a packet of, a 6-page packet of some project of your choosing. Right.
Okay, so it will be kind of final exam, yeah? Or we should create it during the whole quarter?
It will be, I'll be giving out typically I'll give you your sheets on it next time we meet, which is
Oh,
the
okay, I got it. Okay.
So we'll introduce the final project at the end of the next class. I'll officially introduce it once we're done with our Revit families. And then from that point on, the rest of the quarter,
Mhm.
in class, out of class, is all focused on your final project.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank
And your final project is all different, right? It's your project, right? So it's not somebody else's project. It's not a team thing. Here's my building and I'm going to work on this, right? You're going to have time in class. As you model it, we'll stop, maybe the first half of the class and I'll just have open lab time, ask me questions if you need, whatever. And then the last, half of class or last third of class, we'll look at, hey, let's make this one view, or let's put this on a sheet, or but we need to get the modeling started first. So again, it's not anything that's super challenging. I think realistically, a few out, like this is way, way, way more than I'm looking for, right? Okay, so this is just to kind of show capabilities, not to scare anybody. Okay. Like,
Okay.
so I mean, realistically, this right here would be plenty sufficient. Just this little building, and then the views that would, right? We're gonna have an elevation view showing this, and you'll dimension where that window is, right? And we'll have we're gonna put together a small set of plans, but that's it. Like, you don't need to build. You can be your 1-bedroom studio apartment, right? It doesn't have to be a 5,000 square foot house or 25,000 square foot house with 27 different roof lines, right? It can be, but here's the biggest thing is if you plan on spending that much time, you need to plan on spending that much time on the back end putting the detail sheets together. And that's where we run into problems, right? So again, this project, I'm not just going to put one view together and you can build off it, right? There's going to be a lot of different views. So just look at the complexity of what you're trying to do. And if it's too complex, simplify it, right? I mean, by all means, we're not looking to build a 4-wall little cabin like this, put in a chair, a wood stove, a little whatever, good enough, right? The point is to provide not only the building, the modeling, but the detailed sheets that go with it, the sheets that look like, and we'll get into that, right? That's the second half of the class where when we're working on our final projects, we have some instruction on how to start taking what we have and putting that final project together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just think that I missed something, and
yeah, absolutely. And I don't think anyone we haven't really gone into it. I just know that Daniel had my class last semester and for AutoCAD, and he was like, yeah, are we going to be doing the same type of projects? Like, yeah, we are. I mean, it's just a different platform, right? Different software. Same type of end goal is to provide some type of a model or some type of detailed drawings that you could take and build off of, right?
Okay.
So and for people that wanted to get more advanced and more complex, now is kind of the time to start if you're really looking to put in 150 hours. Am I requiring that? Absolutely not. 8 hours of work, is more than sufficient. Probably 4 hours, right? I mean, we'll have all the time in class. Realistically, if you use it wisely, you could put the whole final project together in class. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So welcome back from our break. Let's go through. I'm just going to go through the list, and I want to hear from everybody tonight. So I want to, and if you don't want to talk, too bad. Like it's an interactive class. We do need some participation, right? That's why it's not just a watch the lecture later, right? So I want to know, what are things that you've struggled with? What if something that, maybe you did it one way and then found out there was a different way to do it that helped a lot, right? I'm trying to gain some knowledge from where you're at, what you're struggling with, as well as see what you guys are doing, right? So I'll just start with Todd. I'll just call names at random. So
I did a bunch of drawing today and I was trying to import stuff off that BIM website
okay, sure.
and had there were several files that didn't download right or
Okay,
whatever.
so
I was having a
can
lot of difficulty with that, but I think I
okay,
got it figured out. I don't really
so
need to.
what? No, that's fine. What site were you using? Was it BIM Object?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one thing that we need to make sure, and this is why this is
And I
perfect. I don't
clicked on Revit files only and RTA files, and
on
specifically
RFA files.
RFI,
Okay.
RFA, yeah.
Okay.
So I figured
n-
out that was my first problem as I was clicking on the other files, but I went
Okay.
back to the video and I found my
Okay.
mistakes, I
Great.
guess.
The one other thing that you may run into now, depending on how the file was built, who built it, your file, or what you think is your file, right, is your Revit family, is actually a Revit project consisting of a bunch of different Revit families. Okay. So sometimes you experience that where you download a .rvt file. If you can avoid it, try to download only RFA files, which are the
RFA,
individual
correct.
family file. Okay.
And
So
then
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, please.
The other thing I was struggling with was adding the columns like you have right there in your picture
Okay.
To one of the projects I was working on. So
Okay.
if you could go through that would be cool, how you place those and
Let's do it. Let's do
okay,
it.
cool.
Yeah, so this is what I want to do, kind of give everyone, a handful of minutes of try to, and when we're looking at something, right, maybe you have already had that question, right? You might have it too. Okay, let's try not to have repeats, but yeah, let's go ahead and look at this. So I'm going to delete this column right here. Okay, I'm going to build a brand new column from scratch. And just because I want to reference and make sure I know what I'm building, let's look and see what my other columns were. Okay, it's an 8x8. Okay, so that's the column size I want to use. So let's go to the architecture tab and go to columns. Now there's two styles of columns. There's a column structural and a column architectural. Which one were you using?
I was trying to use the structural. I mean,
So
yeah.
So
I just
that's
would
where
like
you're
to see how you do it.
perfect. And that's where so the structural column is very specific to wanting to be some type of a structural steel, some type of a W shape. Maybe it's a concrete, but it's a beam. It's really, we're not building a high rise. Okay. So let's keep it simplified and use the actual column architectural, which has a lot more options as far as what we can do as simple stuff, right? We don't need all these flanges and metal stuff. So I don't know. I may have built this one. So let's go ahead and take a look at how I did that, right? So let's say that we actually want, in this case, these two posts, and this is a good example. We want these two posts to be a 6x6, not an 8x8. Okay. So this is going to show you a couple different things. So we're going to go to column, architectural. Now, one thing that you're probably going to see is, oh crap, my column size isn't in this list, right? Like I don't need a 2-foot column, right? But the way that Revit works and the way that these families are built uses parametrics, right? So they can stretch and flex, and you're going to see that in 2 weeks in our Revit family class, the next class we have. We're going to make all these planes, attach this geometry, and it'll stretch and flex, and you'll see, oh my gosh, this is the inner workings, why it works the way it does. But for now, we can go to this edit type button. Now, if I just went ahead and changed this depth and the width, that would work, okay? I could change this to, let's just say I want this to be 4 inches by 4 inches. The problem is, right now, I'm still in a type that says 18 by 18. Okay, so if I had other columns that had been used that were 18 by 18, and I just go ahead and change these dimensions, those other columns are going to change as well, right? So first thing and very foremost, when you are looking at creating something, right? The first thing we need to do is edit type and then click this duplicate button. What it's going to do is create a brand new type. We're going to call this 6 inch by 6 inch. And now whatever properties I apply to this are only going to apply to the 6 inch by 6 inch, right? So 6 inch width or 6 inch depth, 6 inch width. Okay. Now I can go ahead and see, hey, where is it going to place? It's going to place it upstairs right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and click. And by clicking in there, it went ahead and set it. Now, do I know where this exists in 3D? I don't know. Let's go take a look. And maybe this is in the right spot. Maybe it's not, right? So let's look at, and I actually want to look at the full 3D plan. But you can see, oh, you know what? It did a good job of placing it at the right elevation at the bottom. The top might not be to where it's at, right? But looking in 3D, I can see where it's at. If I needed to adjust that height, I could go to, let's go to 4, and come and bring a section over. And I'll actually make a section that's parallel. I'm going to copy this section and then align it to this wall. And now I can go look at this. And again, here's my depth clipping. So I only want to view this far. And now when I look at this, there's that column I just drew, right? So 2 things we need to do with it. One, it needs to extend up to this roof, right? And to do that, you can use this really cool tool by attach top or base. So you can click this attach top or base, click this roof, and it's automatically going to go there. Now, one thing with Revit and a column, it thinks that the column top is going to be flat, right? So it actually brought this to the point where it touched and then cut it off. Maybe I actually want this to go into the roof line a little bit. I can come down here and this right here instead of this, let's see, where's my offset? Offset from attachment at top. So I'm going to go ahead and just add 4 inches to it. And that's going to just bump that up 4 inches. So I'm, looking into this roof. All right. So now it's the right height, but we still got 2 more things to do with it. So it needs to be rotated. And again, since I made this as a 6 by 6, this is being constrained. So when I align one side of it, the whole thing is just going to rotate, right? It's not an object that now can move. It's saying, hey, this is 6 by 6. It's going to stay 6 by 6. Even if I grab this one edge, I'm not going to just drag that edge. It's going to move the whole object. So now that's over there. Let's take a look at this. Is that where I want it? Maybe I want to move it about, maybe I want it a foot from inset. So I'll move it to the edge and then move it back a foot. Something like that. And then last but not least, right, I made one of them. I want to make a second. Okay, so I can either copy it and move it, or one of my favorite commands is we can just go ahead and mirror this. Now, I don't know that there's any mirroring lines set up. So it might be just easier to copy this. And we could copy this from here. And you'll notice that if I drag this down and I drag at the same angle, I can get that parallel line to snap. So I can drag this over so it's parallel and the edge of the deck, and it'll put it right there. Right. But you got to make sure you're using those guidelines. Otherwise, it can place it wherever you want it to. Right. That's what's constraining it from it accidentally being placed here. Right. Even though I didn't necessarily use the move, like I used the move tool because I used the move with displacement, or sorry, the copy with displacement. Right. But I'm utilizing that temporary reference line to make sure everything stays square, not just coming down here and placing it because now it's not in alignment with the other one, right? Now, could I do that? Sure. Place it here. Oh, crap. Oh, whoops. I want to copy it over there. Can I do that? Sure. Place it here. It's out of alignment. What do I need to do? Again, this is parametric but locked at 6 by 6. So when I stretch this, it's going to move the whole object, and now they're back in alignment.
Sweet.
All right, so there's a little bit on columns.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead. I want volunteers because I don't know. We could end up being here all night, just depending on
Can I
how in
ask you a
depth.
question, Grafman? Grafman, this is Dmitry.
Yes, Dimitri.
Yeah, I'm a little bit struggling about scheduling.
About
So,
what?
scheduling. Schedule.
Shadow?
Schedule.
Catio?
No, schedule.
Oh,
I think he said
schedule.
scheduling.
Okay. Sorry, no worries. You said, I thought I heard catio, and to be honest,
No.
it's really funny because, well, two things. One, I got this lovely scar here from the catio build, last cut of the project type deal. Go to the ER. But prior to the building of the catio, I actually modeled my catio.
No. Schedule,
So,
yeah.
schedules.
Yeah,
What would you like to
schedule.
know?
So I tried to do the same thing that we did last class, and I have a
Okay.
problem. Can I share my screen and show you?
Absolutely. I'll stop my share.
Hmm,
It should be good to share. There we go.
okay, can you see?
I can see. Right on. Okay, you've got the windows that we changed a bunch of different types and elevations and whatnot. Okay, perfect.
The problem is when I create this schedule, you can see only level 1.
Okay.
What's
You
the
can
problem?
see only level 1. Okay,
Yes.
so the question is, let's go ahead and we've got another field that we need to assign. So let's go back and look at your east elevation real quick. So you put in those other levels, right?
Mhm.
However, for some reason, when you copied it up or mirrored it or however you did it, right? I don't know.
Just copy it.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
click on one of those windows real quick. So see how it's saying sill height is actually at 17 feet? So go ahead and just change that L1. So hold control real quick before you do that. So,
Oh, I should change to L2.
yes.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Now let's see. Okay, but hold up.
Mhm.
It didn't like that because what it wanted to do is it said, hey, I want to keep that sill height offset and also move it to level 2. So it's going to put it at 17'7" off level 2 instead of level 1. Sometimes this happens with level association. You can click a pick new host button at the top.
Host button. What is it?
Right under the modify green tab at the top, there's a pick new host.
Wait a second.
It might be behind your Zoom.
Okay. So
So go select the window again. Or a window, I don't care which one. Yep.
mhm.
All right, now just click that pick new host button. Let's just see if this works for you. Can you see right there? There you go. So now if you just go and click that level 2 line, oh wait, it's actually going to pick and place a new host with you. Interesting. Okay, so hit escape. Let's see what we can do to fix this. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to just tell you to move them all to like level 2 or level 3 and then have you move the window level and have it just move them up. I want them to stay in the same location. So what we can do, there's a couple ways to go about this, but we could go ahead and take a dimension off of level 2 to the bottom of that sill height on that first window. So that's level 3.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
So from level
That's
1 to level 2?
From level 2 to the bottom of the window on 2. Level 1 is fine.
Okay.
So right there, it's going to grab that sill height. Yep. Go ahead and take I think it's the upper one of the 2 is what is what you want. So if you go zoom back into that pink line and click it again.
So from level 2?
Click there, zoom way into that window before you click. Zoom it.
Zoom.
Yeah, one of the biggest things when using dimensions is you really have to make sure you're close to your work, because right now you got 12 feet between those 2 windows. That's a lot of distance, right? So if there's a reference plane or if there's something that's trying to snap that's a ½ inch lower, it's really hard to tell. So let's go and click that dimension, click the level plane, so level 2, and then let's go up to the actual sill, not there. I think, let's see, go back down. You'll see it. I think it's the second one where the bottom of the window is. So there you go. That's the sill right there.
Okay. Yeah.
So click there. Okay, so that's 5'7" and 15/16. Okay. So there's a couple things we can do, and I don't want to be too precise on this, but go ahead and click to set that dimension. Now, if you hit escape and go and change that level. So click on the window itself and you change the level from level 1 to level 2. Nope, not there. In your properties. So what you can do, let's try this again. Click into that 5'7" and 15/16. I want you to copy that. So click there and hit Control C. Okay. All right. Now I want you to go to your properties and click into that sill height on your left-hand side keep the window selected. Okay. Go to your sill height on the left-hand side in your properties. It's an actual dimension. Left-hand side of your screen. Keep going. Left-hand side, your properties. It's already up. Very left-hand side where your window is, right? Where your type selection.
Here.
No, very left-hand side. Okay, this is simple stuff. Properties and project browser.
By your project browser, like over
Right.
there by your project browser, it says window double hung on it.
Oh, in the
No,
okay.
on the left-hand side, you've got your properties above and your project browser below. Move your mouse all the way to the left-hand side of your screen, please. Left-hand side, that is your right. Go up. That's your project browser. Now go up. That's your properties. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that's where we need to be clicking into this sill height right there.
Okay.
Okay. So does anyone not know what your properties or your project browser is? I mean, so go ahead and now hit Control V and you can paste that other value. Now hit OK. And then you can change that level 1 to level 5 to level 2. And it'll put it back in the same spot. There you go. And that'll be right there.
Okay.
As soon as, okay. So real quick, is there anyone that struggles with knowing where your properties and your project browser is? Those are really, really important parts of this program. And if you're not utilizing them, you're going to struggle. Okay. So just understanding what that, clicking on an object and understanding what the properties are. Click on another window, right? That's on level 1, right? So just understanding where those are, what controls that, because right now you could change that temporary dimension, or you could put a dimension on it, but it's still reporting to level 1 because that's where it's scheduled, right? So that's why all of your windows say they're scheduled to level 1. Now we could go to your window schedule again real quick, and you now should see a level 2 if you've got it broken out that way, which you do at the bottom. Now it says level 2 down there.
Yeah.
But one thing you could do is go ahead and click on the fields in your properties on the left-hand side. There's a fields button that says edit to the right. Go down about 5 lines.
Yes.
Yep, click that one. So now let's bring over sill height. So if you scroll down, that's got height. So yeah, there should have a sill height there. Yep, scroll down, find sill height, and then click the green button to bring it over. Perfect. Now you can at least see what they're reporting, and you can see all those other windows that are way high and at least get a value for them so you can figure out what level they should be at, right? So now instead of them all just looking like they're at level 1 at 3 foot, that's the real sill height of them. And you've got, 6 windows that are reporting, 30 feet up or whatever. So, but you can change the level so it reassociates it. And then you may need, now the biggest thing is when you drop windows in to begin with, just make sure that you're on the right level and it should auto associate them, right? We did it a kind of backwards the other day, but same concepts apply, that you need to understand how to make it right, even if it wasn't right when you dropped it in.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Graham Thomas Deach, I think that's how you say his last name, just texted me and said that he lost internet.
Oh,
and
okay.
he's gonna try to reset everything.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to Marlon. I know that you came in a little late to the class. You've done a great job trying to catch up. I've seen that. What can I help you with? Did I lose him? Are you there, Marlon?
I don't think he has a microphone. I think that he just listens or whatever.
Yeah, he said his microphone was broken last class.
Okay. Never mind then. Well, then we'll move on. So you can always call in from a phone and or another device and join. So you can get 2 devices, you can log in twice is what I'm getting at. So you can come in with a different device for your audio if you need to, right? It's hard for me to.
He's on the screen there trying to tell you something.
No, I know. I see it. He's got no mic. I see it. But no, it's just kind of hard to converse and like share a screen and help you with what you're struggling with if you can't talk back. And I know that the chat's there, but it's hard to work the chat in real time when you're trying to actually, it's hard to show me an issue and type in what's going on at the same time. Like that's probably a hard workflow. All right. Who wants to go next? Anyone else have something that they are dying to cover?
Well, how do you can you show me again like how to put the like elevation views on the title blocks? I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, but we're gonna have a whole lesson on that, so I'm not gonna go.
Okay.
That's gonna be part of putting the final project together. Ultimately, though, I'll go through it at lightning speed real quick for you. It is. Let me share this screen.
And then I have a quick question, Graham. That's kind of just an off question.
Sure.
Okay.
Let me do this. Let me do this real quick.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you want to see right now, if I collapse everything here, you'll see that I have nothing under sheets. So there's been no sheets created, right? I do have a few views. However, just for this exercise, I'm going to make 2 more, or I'm going to make 1 more elevation view just so we can have it, and we'll put an elevation of this cabin on here. So I'm going to crop that up so I only see what I want to see, because I don't need this full extent just to see the side of that building. And I'm just going to go and look at the view real quick and see. Good enough, right? And that's fine. I don't really care to do anything else with it. So looks good enough. Maybe my other ones would have, some actual dimensions on them, right? I would hope so. Okay. So there's, a few window dimensions. Something like that. All right, good enough. Now you can kind of see how to build that, right? Cool. That's why we're providing an elevation. The elevation view shouldn't just be a picture, right? It should be a picture that explains what's going on, that dimensions locations of places, right? That, actually has it has meaning to it, not just some picture. All right, so I made this. Let's go and create a sheet. So I'm going to create a new sheet just so I have one. I'll just use this 30 by 42 is fine. Probably bigger than I need. Literally, it's this simple. Now that I got a sheet and a view, here's my elevation view. Here is my sheet. Okay, I'm going to just name this real quick just so I know. I'm going to call this Workshop West Elevation. Okay, right now, just so you guys understand what you're seeing and why it changes, right now there is no checkbox by this, okay? This checkbox is not something that you can actually check. It's not a checkbox. What it is if this view or if a particular view is dropped onto a sheet in Revit 2023 and beyond, this box will now turn blue. So I'm going to click, drag, drop, click to drop it, and now you see it blue. That means that elevation is placed on a sheet. Okay. But it's that simple. It's literally click and drag. Where do you want to place it? I'll place it right there. Maybe the scale's wrong. Real quick, if you need to change the scale, like this is 1/8 inch, let's say I wanted it to fill this entire sheet. There's two options. If you double click into it and go either to your template or to wherever your scale is set, maybe down here, and just change this to 3 inches. Well, that's way too big. Change it to like 1 inch equals a foot. Maybe that's a little too big too. I'll just go to 1/2 inch for now. It will leave this bar right here at whatever it was originally sized as. Okay. If you go into the view and change the scaling in here and then go back and drop it on your sheet, this bar at the bottom will match the same size as your view. Okay, so when I scaled this differently, like even now, this was too big, maybe I want to drop it to 1/4 inch. That bar is still obnoxious and obtrusive. It will not move unless you either A, select it correctly and drag it, or B, redrop the view onto the sheet and it will reset that bar. Yep. All right. Next, and let's try to keep stuff to content we've probably touched on. I just don't want to be doing a lot of explaining of stuff that we're going to be covering. Yes, and Kat, you had one, so go ahead. You're up.
Yeah. So this is more of your question as a professional. When you are building a structure or, building mechanics or whatever within a building, how much of the presets do you actually use, or do you have to download custom?
None.
Okay.
None. I don't use, unless it is a generator family that the manufacturer that I was working with provided me, right? Because here's the thing, I could go and look up a generator, like a 20,000 watt diesel generator. Maybe it's 20 feet long. The basic model that they have online might show one orientation of it, but there's 15 more attachments that need to go on. You can flip the connection points. There's so many variables. So unless there was one that was literally provided from my rep saying this is modeled for your piece of equipment, I will be building my own family from scratch in-house, period. I then control the way it works. I control the way it hosts and or not hosts. If the submittal changes, right? Maybe, and here's the biggest thing. And this is, how long have you been in project management? Yeah. Are you,
Like I in the construction on the ground like a year, but
so do you chase down submittals at all?
I do, yes.
You do. Okay. And how often do you get that submittal at the beginning of the project?
Unless it's for like maybe landscaping or like the final clean, you know?
You don't, right? So that's the thing, is there's so many variables to what the things, and I can't wait to start modeling until I receive submittals. If I did that, my guys would not have anything to build. Like, it's just the reality of it. The way submittals work is they need to be submitted, right? You submit on this particular product. Then the owner or the owner's rep or whoever, WashDOT, doesn't matter who you're working for, they have some entity that is either internal or third party that is saying, hey, I either approve this or I reject it. And you know how long they have to do that? They have 30 days typically before they have to give you an answer. Now, if that's a denial saying, hey, you can't use this panel board, and they gave it to me after 30 days, and now I have to choose a new one. Okay, we're at a 2-month process just to even get them to approve the second option, right? Maybe it could go quicker, but don't count on it, right? Submittals are like, it's 3 weeks minimum. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, unless you have someone that's really, really reviewing them, or you're using products off of QPL, which is a qualified product list. That's like, hey, these products are always going to be approved for WashDOT. As long as you use this, you're good to go, right?
But that would be more indicative of civil, correct? Like in that specific case?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
WashDOT meaning like they oversee any roadway work, but like not only the civil aspect of it, but like all my electrical fittings, all my parts and pieces, any part or piece that I or any other subcontractor needs to use on that job needs to go through submittal review and be approved before it can be used. And then the other thing is a lot of things change. That how often do you have a project that starts that you have the exact same pieces of equipment in it 3 months later? You don't. It doesn't happen. It's very, very rare. So having families that move on the fly that you can adjust as needed is very important. And the manufacturer's families, they may look cool, they may look fancy. As far as usability in my profession, they're garbage. They just trying to use them, trying to host them. They always want to host to a wall. Then you can't place it in a certain view. You got to go to a section view to place it. Like, there's just all types of issues with the way that they're built. So having all that control, like that's what I did for Sequoia for like 5 years, is build families on the side. Like, I ran my work and then I was also building families, and and it's really awesome. Like, they're really cool, but unless you have full control, you're locked down. And a lot of the times the families or the stuff that comes less. Now, for the stuff that's I threw in my house, does it matter that it's a 16th of an inch too big? No. For this class, it doesn't matter, right? No one's looking at your submittals. I don't care that if you pick one fixture over another because, you liked it more, right? No one's approving it but you. So in that regard, these families are all plenty fine to use that you find online, right? But in the real world, we don't touch them. So
Got it. Thank you.
Great question though. Yeah,
Thanks.
because you're seeing all these like, hey, this is all fancy and it looks cool. And maybe somebody uses it. Maybe some people use that furniture stuff, right? But it's more of like for a rendering at the beginning of a project type deal. Like, once you actually get assigned things, you may not have that family available. And what do? You go start over? No, you start with something that you've already got and make it work and then just build more types. I mean, I have like, 10 families, but those 10 families each could contain, 400 or 500 different types inside of them, right? I mean, just depending on what it is. So I've got one window family, but I've got every window size I could possibly need, right? Every orientation, and that's what goes with having families that you can control and create, that you can set those parameters and make them work for you instead of fighting it constantly. When you want to make a change, nothing's worse than, oh God, I gotta start back over, figure out how this family's built, strip all the parameters out, make my own. It's a nightmare. So, and a lot of times last thing on this, a lot of times they're overbuilt. So they're way, way, way more complicated and fancy. They look really cool. They're really hard to use in the real world. So, great question. All right. Anybody else have something? If you guys want to go, by all means, 8:30. You can. If you want to hang out, I'll be here for another half hour if we still got questions. Otherwise, yeah. So whatever you guys want to do. But this time is yours to continue asking things that maybe you're struggling with. Maybe you're not, but you're like, hey, how do you do this? Because the way I did it took me a long time. Is there a shorter way to do this? There probably is.
Graham, do we need to submit a screenshot this evening?
I would like a screenshot of your initial house, or not house, but whatever, this screen, right? What screen are you seeing? Are you seeing my
It looks like your house right now. There
I
you go.
want the screenshot of your work that looks like this in your Revit, right? That's what we want to start with tonight.
Hey, Graham, this is Steven.
Hey, Steven.
So to learn the ribbon, and if I started doing a project and I get stumped on, say, like putting in post or even shingles on the siding of the house, could I YouTube what functions to hit, what's in the
Sure.
ribbon?
YouTube is a great resource. There are thousands of videos on architectural aspects. Unfortunately, none of them for the roof that I was trying to connect, which is literally this. I'll show you. Literally this roof right here.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it was so hard, yet it took me 2 hours and a lot of digging, but just to create this roof to connect with that roof at that diagonal angle was super, super challenging. So again, if you don't find what you're looking for on YouTube, please reach out, right? We can always take something. And if you look at, especially if you're using out of the box families, like out of Revit walls and stuff, I don't want you guys to be bringing walls in from other places. Like these are probably pretty good, right? They've got what you need, but can we take this and do something else with it? Absolutely. We can always edit this type, change how things work, change the structure on it. And right here, boom, there's wood shake as my material. Okay, well, I could change that to a different type of material, right? All of this is built in. So if you want to access it, by all means, the biggest thing I want you to do, though, is before we start changing all your material types and getting everything all fancy, I want you to at least have your content drawn. I will help you make it as fancy as you want, but we need to have something to turn in because, again, I can't say this enough. I've had every year somebody will not turn in a project or will turn in a project that has nothing but a model, no sheets, no views, no dimensions, and I can't give you more than like 8 out of 20. Like that's all the points that are for modeling, right? There's more to it than that. It's not just about modeling, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that you've got your content, you got your views made. If you've got that done, by all means, let's take a look. Let's make it, change that shake shingle to a wood plank or whatever you want to do, right? Change your window trim, right? Maybe I wanted this inside of this window clad to be, something else. Maybe I wanted this to all be green. I could change this. I made this material type that matched the color I was looking for. Again, maybe I want the whole window to be that green color. Oh, what happened to it? What did I do? Graphic glitch. All right, now it's back to white. But again, there are tons and tons of options, but I don't want to go through and get it because you can get stuck in the woods for months just trying to change little tiny things. I know I was up till 2:30 the other morning and I thought it was 11 o'clock at night because I was so deeply involved. I started at 9 o'clock, right? I'll put in a couple hours and shit. Right, so I get it. But anyhow, things like that there, you can change every little part and piece and material type of everything. But I want to make sure that you get the basic content done first, right?
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
So my roof that I put on last time, I know that we put the roof on last time, but what if I wanted a roof that didn't have like an angle, like see how your roof is, how it comes to a pitch like just above the window, like mine, like I
Is
wanted
it?
to,
It's all sloped, right? You
yeah, but like
want to share your screen?
I'd have to
Before we get in, hold up. Before we get into your window stuff or your roof stuff, does anyone else have questions about what things we've covered in class? I'm more than happy to go through it. I just don't want to take people's time if they actually have things that they're struggling with.
I just had a quick question about that curved wall that we created.
Yeah.
For the radius, it's giving me 6 foot, but it's to the center line, not that interior edge.
That is what I gave you, is just the center line.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't try to throw
because-
that curveball into it.
Okay.
But do you want to look at how to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at your screenshot. The
Sure.
arrow doesn't point to the middle, and when I drag it back, it goes to 5'6".
Okay, so let's go to I don't think I can hit right here. Here we go. Had to pull the right screen up. All right. So real quick, so right now, yeah, it is at 6 foot. I put a quick dimension on it, right? And when I did that by default, when I go to, it wants to give me, if I go to Angular, let's see, what do I need to do? DI, I want to give it this radius. So this just by default gave me that, right? However, there's two ways to go about this. You could take this and drag it to that inside, okay, and it'll change the position on it, and it'll now tell you that's 5'6". And if you needed that to actually be 6 foot, we could click on this, type in 6 foot there, and now we've got a 6 foot radius to the inside of that wall, right?
Okay.
So by the other way to do it is, again, if you started with 6 foot, come back when you're dimensioning from the start, when you go to this radial dimension, just choose that inside line, right? And that'll give you whatever you need. If I was to give you, say, hey, it needed to come off the inside and 6 foot, you could choose that and then adjust accordingly, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you're ever having
the dragging was what was throwing me off.
Yeah, well, and you don't necessarily need to do the drag. I think the drag was just my shortcut because all that does is it changes where that's at, but at the same time, I think the better thing to do would just be to like actually redimension it instead of just dragging. And then yes, I'm choosing this inside line. That's the radius of it. And then when you select it again, clearly you can see that. The drag is just a little, you can do it, right? It's just a temporary, it's just a dimension change. I don't know, good, bad, or indifferent, right? It's just, it's there to help you out, but I would probably start by dimensioning the right location and from that inside line. Now, if I already have the outside line that's there or the middle line, yeah, maybe I'll just fudge it. So,
Gotcha.
but
Cool.
it's kind of like this, it's kind of like this right here, where instead of adding the witness line to this, so like I could do this and click add a witness line and click right here. I could also click this dimension and grab that node and change where that witness line is. So it's the
Okay.
same concept of that, is you're just changing the witness line of the dimension. It just doesn't have an add or remove witness line, because you're not going to have multiple witness lines on a curved wall or on a curve, right? It's only looking for one radial dimension.
Cool. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that does, you can do it. Again, it's not, I wouldn't typically grab and move a dimension like that. I would probably, to be honest, I would probably just delete it and either delete it and start over. If I have a bunch of things already on, bunch of dimensions already set on there, maybe I'll just try to edit the witness line. But sometimes you'll get stuff like this where you've got a witness line and maybe it's like there, and maybe you've also got a like dimension line like that, and all of a sudden you've got these other lines that show up, and it's hard to like, you can edit this witness line, but now which one do I delete? Which one, it's sometimes easier just to delete it
Start fresh.
and start fresh. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, great
Awesome.
question. All right. Dimitri, Greg, Leslie, Todd, you guys got anything? Marlon? Cool. All right, Daniel, you're up. Let's look at what we want to do with that roof. So I want you to share your screen. I'll stop sharing mine. I'm still sharing. I'm still sharing. My Zoom controls are lost them. Here we go. Stop share. All right. So yeah. So what you got here is the exact same thing we were talking about, where you created a roof from the footprint, right? And so when you create a roof from the footprint, it wants to always give you a slope in every direction, right? In every face, you have a slope facing every, or that's perpendicular, right, to every wall, right? So it's going away from that wall, going away from the other wall, right? So let's go ahead and just real fast, let's just make a flat roof for this. So we could just, do you want to keep that roof? What do you want to do with that roof? Do you want to, because we could just hide it and bring it back later.
It doesn't matter. I can just get rid of it and start anew. I mean,
Okay. Let's just do that if you're cool with it. It's pretty easy to make that roof again if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So let's just do this. So before we get anywhere else, I want you to do what we did, or what I did, I should say, in that roof by extrusion example, where we create a reference plane. So, and I don't care where, in this instance, it doesn't matter where we create the plane as long as it's a true 90. Because we're going to create a flat roof in this one. The next one, it will matter, and we'll make it sloped, but we're going to create a flat one to start. So I want, nope. Stop. So the first thing before we do any of this, hit escape, right? And again, this is the stuff that hit the X on there, the red X. I don't know, it might be hiding behind. All right. So before we do anything with the roof, we need to build a reference plane. So you can't build the reference plane in 3D. So let's go to your level 1 floor plan. All right. Sweet. So let's go ahead and, again, on this one, it doesn't really matter, but let's go ahead and just build a reference plane on that south wall. That work for you? So let's go to the right-hand side of the architecture tab that you're in, and there's a reference plane button. So yep, all the way to the right-hand side, reference plane. Yep. And I just want you to draw this one. I don't care where you draw it. Just draw it either straight left or straight right. That's fine. Start there and just drag to your right. And then grab that other endpoint. Perfect. That's great. Right. And then let's go and name. So click into there, and it says click to name. So go ahead and click into there and type in north wall. Again, these don't really matter when you have just 1 or 2 or 3, but when you get more than 10, you're really going to wish you named them better. All right. Go ahead and hit enter, and that'll set that plane. Okay. So what we've done is we built a plane in space that says, hey, we can use this to follow or extrude upon. Okay. So I want to now hit escape. And I want to go to the architecture roof. So hit escape, get out of, maybe hit escape again. Yeah, there you go. Go to roof, and I want to, not that one. Okay, hit the no. Now real quick, you have two, hold up. You have two roofs, right? Or sorry, you have two levels in this, right? So let's go to level 2. Let's go to your level 2 floor plan. All right, now that reference plane is still going to be there. Whether you can see it or not, it's still there. But we don't, it doesn't depend. The reference plane will cross all views. It doesn't matter what view you're in. It's not like a detail line where it's view specific. So let's go to roof, and I want you to hit the caret underneath the roof button, not the actual roof, but hit the one underneath it. The little arrow button down there. Yeah. Now let's go to roof by extrusion. All right. And right now it says pick a plane, click your drop down. And we now have your north wall plane that we just made. Okay. By default. So those two planes that are going left and right, the green dashed lines going through the center of your screen, those are default reference planes at the center of your drawing. Okay. We now built another plane on the north wall. So let's go ahead and select that north wall. Now click OK. Now go ahead. Elevation north would work. Yeah, let's just go to that view. You've already got an elevation there. Perfect. All right. Now it's saying, hey, we noticed that your roof, you've got a level 2. Should your roof be on roof? Yep, we want it on roof. Go ahead and click OK. And now I want you to drag left to right. So you're or wherever, but I want you to click exactly that top corner and then drag to your other top corner. Perfect. Okay, now if you want some overhang on there, hit escape. Let's just leave it flat for now. We're just going to build it to the exact footprint, and then we'll oversize it in a second once we get everything set. So I think that's good. Let's go ahead and hit that checkbox, the green check, and you're going to need to elevate this. What's going on? Do you not have roofs? Oh, we can't see it. There you go. Go ahead and move it up 10 inches. So use your move command and move the whole roof up, because right now I put the roof top at the top of your wall, which you want the roof bottom at the top of your wall. So you move that, and there you go. And let's just move it up 10 inches because it's a 10-inch wall. So move your guy vertical up, over drag it just to the right, straight above you at 90. Make sure you're at 90, and then now you can type in 10 inches. Okay, perfect. Now we just elevated that roof. There we go. Go to a 3D view, that 3D overall view. And now you'll see, hey, we got this big old roof that we created. Now, does that look right? Maybe, maybe not, right? If you had a true rectangle building that, that the side was 69 feet or whatever that is by whatever the height is, yeah, that would be pretty good. However, you have an L-shaped building, right? So you've got some roof that's overhanging a spot that the building isn't, right? So we could do this by two methods. You could either build two roofs, right? One roof over one section of the L, one roof over the other section of the L. Or we can click that vertical button. So up in the ribbon, there's a button right next to where it says edit work plan that says vertical. Keep going to your right. It's that third button from the right-hand side in your ribbon right now. Not in the tab. You're in the right tab. So just move. Keep going like 3 more inches. 2 more inches. Keep going right there. So click that vertical button, and we can now create an opening in the corner. So if you click that square button, the square tool, you can click that bottom corner. So you click your rectangle tool, There you go. Yep, click that one, then click your bottom corner. Now, one thing right now, you can't really see anything, so go ahead and go down to your bottom of your screen. Have you clicked? No, perfect. Don't click, don't click. Okay, go over to the blue cube and let's put this in wireframe. Okay, so now we can see underneath it what we want to cut out. So go ahead and click there. And then go click the top right corner of the deck. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Now if we hit that checkbox, it's going to take that flat roof and cut that section out of it. And there you go. Now we have one roof that's seamless, right? Go to your 3D view. You're in a 3D view. Why don't you, there you go. Into realistic, maybe pan it. Hit one of the corners of your view cube. The top corner of the, yeah, right there. Beautiful. And there we are, right? So that's just by profile. Yeah, we could throw on some extra length on it to get it to overhang, right? But that's the flat roof that we were talking about, right? All right, now let's take a look at this. And I don't know that we've got all the time to do it, but let's give it a shot. So I want you to go ahead and click on that roof and let's delete it. We're gonna try another different style. All right. I want you to build 2 new reference planes. So go to your level 2 drawing, plan view drawing. And I want you to build, so we built a reference plane on the north wall, right? I want a south wall reference plane that's just that small, distance of the bottom leg of the L. And I want an east wall reference plane that's just the right distance of the right wall. So go to RP on your keyboard. Is your shortcut for it. And so let's go down to your bottom. Yep. Zoom in so I can see where you're going. So again, bottom left there. Yep. And then drag it out to your right. Now go ahead and click there. Okay. Now let's hit escape. Okay. Hit escape and then go still. Hit escape again. I don't know. You're still in it. Hit escape again. I don't know. You're still trying to draw a reference point. Let's get out of trying to draw one. We want to name it. You want to turn your mic on so you can talk back to me?
Yeah, sorry, my kids are in the background. I was just trying. My floating meeting controls keep on trying to pop up when I push.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
So hit escape a couple times.
Yeah, it's just not
So
working.
it's not working. Why? What is it looking for? Did you draw the line?
I must have. Yeah, see.
No, I don't think you did. I don't think you've got one in there.
Oh, I haven't drawn it yet. Then
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead and click. There you go. Click that end. Go click the other end. Now click into it to click to name. Yeah, you never even drew one. That's why we couldn't get out of it. And then let's go ahead and click in it to name, and let's name that south wall. Okay, and then I want you can still be in the command, right? So now go to your east wall. And just that little leg of the east wall, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create 2 hip style roofs and we're going to join them together. Perfect. Okay, and then go ahead and name that one, and I want to call it east wall. All right, perfect. Okay, hit escape. We're done with our setup. So escape twice to get out. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing we did before, where we create a roof by extrusion. So let's go to architecture, roof by extrusion. We're going to pick the south wall plane. Okay, you probably already have an elevation set up for it. Do the elevation south, so we're not looking through it. There we go. Okay, that's fine. All right, so now what I want to do is I want you to go click that top left corner of that wall, and I want you to draw at a click, and I want you to draw up at like a 30-degree angle. Cool. Just like that is fine. Make it 30. There you go. Okay, hit escape once. Okay, I want you to go grab the other. Nope, leave that alone. I want you to grab the other. There you go. Click there and draw up at 30 degrees. So zoom in again. Zoom in. You're looking at this from like 60 feet out, right? You want that right. Nope, keep going over. You want the line that actually. There you go. That's what you want, right there. So draw that up at a 30-degree angle. So it's going to be 150. Don't make them touch. So make it 150.
150, 150.
150 is, yeah, so it's 180 minus 30. It's the reverse. So that's 150. And now that is, okay, perfect right there. Click. Hit escape once. Now I want you to use your trim command, so TR. And I want you to trim those two together. So, yep, right one, left one. There you go. All right. So now let's go ahead and hit escape. So if you click on the left line of the pink line there, click on the line. There you go. Type in, add a foot to that distance. So make it 18 foot. Oh, no, sorry. Hit it, Control Z. Grab that. Make it 18 foot 4 and whatever. Add a full foot to it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So nope. Sorry. Hit escape again. Click. It's okay. This is good. Click into it. Click into it again, right where the 7 is. Delete the 7 and type in an 8. Okay, you now made that a foot longer. Hit OK. Since it's joined at the middle, it's not going to change. So same thing there, that side. So same thing. Go ahead and click into it. Take that 7, delete it, make it an 8. Ultimately, we're just giving you a nice little overhang to start with. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit the check box. We're all good. This is what I want. That's the profile I want. And now I want you to go ahead and use your move command and move this up. Actually, we can just leave it where it's at. Let's leave it where it's at. We'll attach the wall to that. That's perfect. All right. Go to your level 2 floor plan. And zoom out. Go to your 3D view. I don't know why we're not seeing your roof in here. But you should see a big old roof. Okay, there you go. Nice. And it looks like it automatically is building at the size that you kind of need. So that's cool. Right on. So why don't you go ahead and click on that roof? And you'll get a distance. Yep, it'll come up 70 feet. Go ahead and just make that 72 feet or 71 foot. Make it 72. Give it a... And again, this is going to stretch you out from the center. So it's going to give you a foot overhang each side. Okay, awesome. So we got roof number 1 kind of built, right? Let's go now and go back to your level 2. And let's go and create a roof from extrusion. Pick plane. Let's go ahead and pick the east. Nope. Hit escape. Go back. And then let's go hit that drop down, right? And let's go choose the east wall. Now you see why it's important to really name these, right? Once you start getting a few of them, if you name them 1, 2, 3, or 4, name it so it means something. All right, you have an east elevation. Let's go ahead and use it. Perfect. Open view. And I want you to do the exact same thing. Okay, that's fine. I want you to do the exact same thing. Not there, though. Does it go all the way there? It starts halfway, right? Yeah, zoom in there. So it starts at that corner. So go to your left. Right there. Draw up at 30 degrees. Click and draw up at 30. And again, it doesn't need to be far. You can just set it at 30 right there. And that's good. Go ahead and click. hit escape. Now, if we knew that you had a mirror point, you could mirror that around, but let's say we don't know that, so let's zoom out and then go draw at 30 degrees. Now, this time, again, not off the end of the roof, but right there off the end of your structure. Perfect. Up at 150. Perfect. Go ahead and click, escape, escape. Now trim those together. Use your trim command.
Is this one?
Yep. And then last but not least, hit escape once. Nope.
Oh,
That's okay. Just go ahead and click back into edit profile.
edit profile.
Back in your ribbon.
Yeah.
It's right there, just to your right. It's right underneath the green modify roofs tab.
Oh, right.
Right
Yeah.
to the left. That's edit work plane.
Yep.
Right there you go. Edit profile. Click that. It'll bring you back into that line mode.
Okay.
So now click on one of those lines. Same thing we did before. No, one of the pink lines.
Oh,
Hit escape. You're trying to draw a new line. Hit escape. Just now select that. Now you're in the selection. Now go click on one of the pink lines. Click on it. You just click back and go ahead and click it. There you go. Now just add a foot into there, right? So add that, make that 24. Okay. And then same thing with the other one. But this way it's keeping everything symmetrical with a 1 foot offset, right? So we're setting ourselves up for success. All right, go ahead and hit that green checkbox. Perfect. All right, let's go to your 3D view. So this is where things get fun. So you now have this, which is fine. That's what would happen if it actually did that, right?
Yeah.
So we now want to utilize some tools that are very, very handy. And if you go to the modify tab,
where was it?
2 over or 4 to the right from there. Keep going right there. Okay. So if you look here, okay, so see if you can find the cope, cut, join, like all 3 of those commands just to your left into right.
Oh, right here.
Okay, so right there, those are the cope, cut, join. Just to the right of cope, you've got one that looks like a roof. So this is what's called the join and unjoin roof command. So what it's going to allow you to do is we're going to join those 2 roofs. So go ahead and click the button. I want you to select roof A, which is, let's see. Let's see, click that one. Yep, click there. Are you in the command? I don't think you're in the command. You never got in. Okay.
I clicked on it.
Click that side of the roof and then
This one right here?
yep. And then click the other roof, go in the other direction. Nope, keep going left. Keep going left. Right there, that one. Yep. There you go. So we just we just joined those together.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool.
Right. And now let's I want you to hit tab select. I don't know if this will do that. Let's see. Let's just do one wall. Click that east wall right there with the 4 windows on it. Yep. That one. Click that wall.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's not letting me.
Are you something locked up? Did you pin it?
I don't know. Oh, there it
There
goes.
you go. There you go. Okay, so click that. Now, once it's selected, I don't think it's selected yet. Go ahead and click it.
Oh,
There you go.
join.
Do the attached top and base. Yep.
Yeah.
And then go click that roof. Yep.
Oh, cool. All right.
Okay. So
Oh,
now it looks like it looks like it has a different material type there. I'm not sure what happened there.
yeah, it's like generic.
Let's go ahead and do this. Let's hit Control Z. So I want you to click that wall and I want you to detach it first. So go ahead and click it and I want you to detach it. So do the one to the right. Now hit escape twice, and then click it again and then attach it. Sometimes it's holding on to old stuff, and it tries to do its best, but it fails. So
Yeah.
hit escape. Yeah, there you go. Oh, you're editing the profile. Hit close. Hit the X button.
Okay.
Hit the red X. There you go. All right. Now click attach top and base and see if we can get this to work with one bit. There you go. Now hit escape. Oh, it's because your other hit Control Z. It's because you're
Nah, don't want to do it. Oh, there we go.
okay. So click on that wall. What's that wall type? Exterior wood shingle on wood stud. Okay. You know what? Do it again. Do the attach top and base. Let's see why it's now click that roof. Because I don't think it's changing the type. See, it's still saying it's exterior shingle on stud, but I don't know why. We'll have to look at this later. That's a new one. Click
Okay.
on that again. It might be a graphic issue, but if you look at the left-hand side, it is all that wood shingle on wood stud.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something with a profile that you had set up previously. Maybe it's got something to do with the roof that we deleted and it's still holding on to something, right? I'm not quite sure. We can fix it, but anyhow, you get the idea, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely look at that more myself tomorrow or something as well. I mean,
Yeah, and to be honest, go ahead and close this view and reopen it. It might just be that simple, right? It looks like it's a graphic glitch of close it all together. So hit the X on that
oh
corner
yeah.
and then open up that 3D view again.
No.
Well, okay. So there's something else going on. We'll take a look. Okay. I
Okay.
mean, we'll see why it's doing it. But that's ultimately you got what we needed to, which was we drew those reference planes. So now we could draw a roof based off of that. We extruded that roof out in a flat roof and a pitched roof at a 30-degree pitch.
Yeah, that looks way better.
And then we took both of those and we used the join tool and we were able to join those roofs together, right? And now it's one entity. So there might be something else that's holding on. It could be that it's overhanging there and something else is happening. But yeah, well, sometimes you gotta again. I've played with my roofs for a long time and I'm still playing with them, right? So like,
Right.
it's not perfect, but there's typically a way that you can detach something then reattach it.
Let me see if it. Oh, there.
See, that one worked just fine. So I don't know
Yeah.
why the other one is being a glitchy.
Yeah. Dang. Huh.
Okay, but I think it has something to do with that roof going through it, maybe, and it's trying to change the material type. So maybe we shouldn't have done any type of those overhangs until later. Again,
Weird.
you learn more as you do it more, right? So
Yeah.
So play with it. If you've got any solutions to anything, let me know.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone else have anything before I sign off? I know we covered a lot tonight, but
Oh man, it's good stuff.
I think
So
it
good
was
looking product
worthwhile.
there, Daniel.
Yeah, it took me a while. I kind of want to put a ceiling in here because I want to put a window right here, like an attic area, but I don't know.
I'll do it. And you could also put a ceiling there too. I would put a ceiling on your second floor. And again, we can, same way that we just did that with roofs, you can do that same maneuver where you use a reference plane and create a ceiling, right? So you can create a ceiling with an arc, right? So if I share, I'm going to share my screen again real quick.
Go ahead. You gotta force me out of there.
I got you. So if I go here and I just take a main floor, Yeah, let's just basement. It's fine. So if I take a look at like this, and we'll just take a cut right down the middle of this. You can see here that these are all ceilings that were created with the same type of method, right? Where we're using something where I set a plane, then this is a little different because it's dumb. When you're in ceilings, it actually wants you to like, here's your ceiling, and if there's a slope to it, you've got this slope arrow, and whatever this distance of the arrow is, like if I change this from 1.9 to 2 foot, that actually changes the pitch of my roof. So it kind of took a little bit of guessing and checking to get that right. But you can see that pitch is now all screwed up for that ceiling. So same thing though, right? You can tackle it individual piece by piece and then put it together. All right. So don't think, oh my gosh, this is so daunting. I mean, it might be. But we can work through it, right? You can tackle little bits at a time. And, if it is, something that we can't solve, it's probably something that's really, really difficult, right? So I think you're in pretty good hands with what I have and what I can find out and research and understand about this program. But again, I don't know everything about it. No one does, right? That's the beauty of this program is unless you are specialized, and even the more specialized you get, the fewer parts and pieces you actually use in this program, right? Because you're just using this certain, maybe you're using it for structural calculations, right? It'll do analysis on point loads and floor loads and all types of stuff. Do they use any of the tools that I use? Do they use any of the tools that an architect uses? No. So everyone's got their wheelhouse within the program, right? But yeah, I mean, it's super cool once you can get these roofs and the ceilings to go in there. Now you've got something that you've got a roof here that's pitched, but the ceiling right here is flat, right? And so it's multiple pieces that make up that. But pretty cool. I definitely think it's been a fun project so far. So right on. Well, I will see you guys not next week. Next week we have the week off. You still have some homework due, I believe. But I will see you on the 24th. Okay. So come on the 24th, ready to build a lot of reference planes. A lot of planes, a lot of locks, a lot of extrusions. Okay. It's a tough class, but it's really fun. And it's by far the most rewarding class once you see really how these things interact with each other. So we'll build some skeleton work. We'll build some muscles that allow things to stretch and flex. And all of a sudden you've got, and then we'll attach those muscles to the bones and allow it to like stretch and flex the whole family. So yeah, that's cool. It'll be fun.
Thanks, Graham.
All right. Thank you guys. I'll post this
appreciate you,
video as it'll be posted in the morning or in the afternoon by the time it uploads to YouTube. So
Yeah, you got to get home.
all right. Later, guys. Thank you.
All right, bye. See ya.
Thanks. Good evening.